Hi, this is Miss Gambino from the 6th grade STEM class, and we are working on design and modeling, and we're working on Pegboard Toy activity 1.5.5. This tutorial is to help you create an assembly file to get all your parts into one place, and then to constrain your parts or to tell them that they can only exist in a certain space in your file. And the first thing I want to do is click New and make sure you have English measurement, because our parts are all measured in English measurement. And this time, instead of a part file, I'm going to choose an assembly file, which means that you can assemble all your parts together almost like a parts party. So here in the middle you'll see standard inches.iam. The .iam is the extension, your file extension for an assembly file. So I'm going to double click on that. And this is a really easy way to get all your parts together. All you have to do is click on this place from Content Center and then choose place. And then I just find my parts. If your parts are not showing in your screen here, you can drop this down and find your number and then my documents. And I'm going to first place my pegboard. It doesn't really matter the order you place them in, but you need the pegboard, the round peg, and the square peg. So I'm going to click pegboard. I'm going to say open, and you'll see my pegboard appears. It places one copy. You can place multiple copies if you want, and this is important. If you had a part that had a lot of different screws or something that were the same size, you might be able to use them over and over again. Say your part had 80 different screws in it that were 1/4 inch by 3/8 inches, and then you could just place a bunch of different screws that you would use in your part. But we only need one pegboard, so I'm going to hit escape to get out of there. And I'm going to use my mouse button just to roll backwards or up so that it zooms out a little bit. I'm going to place, and I'm going to find my pegs now. The first one is going to be the round peg. I'm going to open, and I'm going to click once and then hit escape, and then I'm going to place, and I'm going to get my square peg. Square peg, where are you? There you are. Okay, I'm going to open it, and I'm going to place my square peg and hit escape. So there I have my 3 different parts in my file. The next thing I want to do is to constrain these parts to these spaces. So the circle should only be able, the round peg should only be able to exist in this circle hole, and the square peg should only be able to exist in this square hole. So I'm going to use a tool called Constrain, and you'll find that right here. And a constraint, again, is some kind of a limitation that you're putting on something. Just in real life, a constraint might be, time or money or materials or a lot of other different things. There are so many constraints in life. But now I want to put a constraint on this peg saying it can only exist in this space. So I'm going to constrain, and you'll notice a dialog box will pop up where you could choose different objects. I don't really want to change this because all the right things are already selected, and I'll just explain to you. This is a mate. That means one piece goes with another piece. This is my first selection and second selection. You don't have to worry about this for this part, and solution would be the mate is chosen. You can see the ones that are chosen are highlighted in a little bit of blue, and I want to find the center point of my round peg, and you'll see that because the dotted line will go through the center of it. So I'm going to click when I see that dotted line, and I'm going to come over to my circle, and I'm going to do the same thing. That means the center point of this peg is going to be constrained to the center. Oops, where'd it go? Constrain. Center point of the peg constrained to the center point of this hole. Watch this and listen for the sound. It's fun. Pop. So now my peg is constrained into this space, and I'm going to hit apply. And you'll see now that this peg can only move up and down through this space. Now I'm done, so I'm just going to X out of that one. Now the next thing that I want to constrain is the square. But a square, this could be a rectangle. It doesn't really have a center point. It does if it's a square, but we can't really use that to constrain. So what I need to do is constrain 2 faces. This big flat part is a space. This big flat part is a space. So I'm going to find 2 adjacent faces to constrain those 2. This one's a little bit more difficult, so watch carefully. Constrain. All the right things are already selected as the default. So I'm going to choose this face first. Notice the whole face highlights. And then you have to be really careful here. You don't want to choose an edge. You can sometimes do that, but for what we want to do today, we really want to choose a face. So I want to get rid of this little thing. Oh, cancel that. I'm going to try that again. I'm going to do constrain and pick a face and then another face. Notice the whole face is highlighted. And I'm going to hit apply there. Then I'm going to X out because I want a little bit more practice. And I'm going to just move this around. Notice this could still move around. That's why you have to constrain 2 different faces. And I want to move this so that I could see the face here and then the inside face of this. And you'll see what I mean in a second. If you hit constrain, all the right things are selected. I'm going to choose face. And then I have to choose my rotate tool and click, and you drag the shape around. Isn't that cool? So that you could see some part of the face inside here. You have to pick the whole face. If my square peg had been over that, I wouldn't be able to select it. So that's why I moved it over a little bit. I'm going to click that face and look at that. I hit apply. I'm going to X out of this, and then I'm going to click my home button. And you'll notice that this square peg now can only exist in this space. So now we have our pegboard and we have 2 different shapes. Now our packet is trying to trick us because it wants a 3rd shape, so we're going to have to create a 3rd shape and put it directly in the center of these 2 pegs. So stay tuned for some more to come.